Hello, Solar Loon here. Yeah, this is another Let's Make a Song, I think it's gonna be. I just had an idea for a little synth line, and I thought that it'd be cool to kind of watch me make a song out of it. If you're wondering, like, where I've been, I've been like, oh man, a lot's kind of been happening. I recently got a job, so that's been something that I've been working on, and they've been working me kind of hard, like 11-hour days. So, yeah, I get home at like 8, 9 p.m. after going in at 9 in the morning. It's, well, not 9 p.m. Well, I get home late sometimes. And so it's kind of tough. But it's going okay. So that's kind of something that's, been operating or kind of been taking up my time a lot. Also, I had to install my entire computer. I had a disk read error, I think, or something like that, where basically I messed up my master boot record and I lost like a lot of my data and stuff. Fortunately, I made backups, but I lost like a week of progress on like Falcon and a week of progress on Sustain, and I lost some songs and stuff. So it's kind of unfortunate, but it's not too bad. I've made some good stuff since then, so that's always good. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and basically start laying out this pattern. I had an idea for it, so I'm gonna see basically what I can like make out of this pattern. It's kind of a video game thing, but it kind of sounds like, I think, a deadmau5 song, but I'm not sure. Let me see. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure how this is really gonna go. I'm gonna try it. Let me see. I'm gonna make sure that it's got a good amount of lines. I like to kind of like have four of a gap between each note. That gives me that allows me to have like my own kind of shuffle or kind of timing, but at the same time also, kind of adhere to the normal beat system. Because if you go like 125, for example, let's say I'm aiming for 125 and I leave it at 6 speed, ticks. If I have a note like every other hit like this, I don't really have a lot of resolution to work with. If I want it to be on every other, every fourth line, then I have to either lower the speed or heighten the volume, heighten the beats per minute. I think I usually end up heightening the beats per minute, because that way I have the same amount of ticks per line. This, you probably won't like hear the difference between adjusting this ticks per line to be lower and heightening the BPM, unless you're doing something like that requires basically a per line or tick based effect. Like, for example, arpeggio, that uses ticks. So if you have a low tick per line, then you're going to basically be shooting off less notes per arpeggio command. Whereas if you have a high tick per line, then you'll be able to hear like a lot more notes within each beat, so to speak, or each line movement. Anyway, let's go ahead and let me try to lay this down. So something like, I'm not sure exactly what beat this is. Okay. Okay, so it's like 80, something like 80 lines per beat or per pattern. That's kind of a weird thing. Let me see. Let me see if I can kind of refine this. Let me see. Okay, so it's basically like a 3/4 beat. It's 48 lines basically to a beat. Right. Okay. So it's like 48, 96. So it's 96, and then we're going to basically double that to be a full amount. Is that right? 12, 18, 190, 192, but then when we double that for more, it's 18, 2, 3, 384. Okay, so it should be something like Alright, so that's basically what we're looking at. So from now it should be. So something like that. So I know this probably sounds really weird, but that's kind of the feel I'm going for. So hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. Let me see. Okay, I think this will work. Let me see. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust my mic a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and start on the beat, I think. Let's see, category, percussion, yeah. No. Yeah, I kind of want it to be like a kind of a slow beat. Let's get yeah, this one, and then oops, no. This one. Let's get hits, kick. Okay. Alright, let's see how this goes. So this is a kind of an interesting sound and a kind of interesting mix kind of thing I'm doing. I've been doing this like electro dubstep kind of thing with my songs recently. I like the sound of it. I've been trying to like push more kind of, I guess you could say, mainstream kind of electro or electronic styles kind of into my work or my songs. I think it sounds pretty good, but I'm not sure. Let's see. No. Alright, so you saw me probably connect some stuff around. The general idea behind that is just basically I wanted to make the kick drum go out into an amplifier so I could control the volume a little easier. Also, I can plug other things in there if I want them to go out as well as compress. So usually I put the clap in there so it also compresses so you can get a nice, strong, crunchy clap kick off, you could say. So just kind of general things I've picked up that I like to do. So let me see if I can pull up. go with this one. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. So I think that's pretty good. Let's see. Okay, that's better. That's better. Yeah. Alright, now it's just a matter of like really using this, really using this correctly. Let me see. Okay, so I think I just need to keep aware that I'm dealing with like a 24 basically beat. Instead of having this, I have this. This is my range for like a pattern, or maybe half of a pattern. This is the entire pattern. So I need to make sure that I basically return to the original beat at this point. So let's say we do something like this. Yeah, so that basically that's the point. It needs to return. So let me see if I can clean this up a little bit so that it's a little more kind of like a circus beat. Let me see how that sounds. This is quite a beat. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go. Kind of like that. Okay. Alright, I think I kind of like that. Let me see. I'll make this a little lower. I kind of like that. Let me see. me see. Yeah, maybe like that. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so I don't like that much. It sounds really weird. So I'm adjusting the envelope so that basically I can get the entire sample off. Because I mean, like if you hear, if I have an envelope on it, like if I don't have an envelope on it, then basically any other sound that plays in the same channel will cut it off. So for example, or also the end of the pattern. So I'll give an example like this. All right, let me cut that off. I'll put a kick drum here, and then a snare here, and then a kick drum here. So you're going to hear the snare sound. Well, I guess I'll need this. You're going to hear the snare sound, and then it will be cut off with the kick drum. So it's kind of got a long tail, but you just completely get it cut off because the volume envelope is off. So it just plays until the next, basically some other note or anything interrupts it. So the end of a pattern, another note, that will stop this sample from playing, which is kind of bad for this sound because it has a long tail on it. So we're going to basically turn on the volume envelope and make sure that it's at the top and basically sounds out until the sound is completely finished playing. And so it's going to play it through rather than stopping. Yeah, so you can hear it playing even though the kick drum cuts it off. So now, oops, there we go. Yeah. Alright, I think that's pretty good. I like that. Alright, let's make the strings, because that's something that I wanted to cover, basically. It's kind of an advanced technique that I'd like to go over if I can. So let's go ahead and set this up. I think I'm going to use a sawtooth and a square wave. Sawtooth can be a little higher. I think that's pretty good. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we wanted to plug into the compressor. Alright. So let's just leave the sawtooth out of it. And let's get the notes down, and then we can go ahead and basically start trying to like make the synth sound better. So alright, so the chord is something like, or maybe kind of like that. Let me see. Let me make this a little bigger so people at home can see what I'm doing. Let's see. Kind of like that. Let's see. think I like that. Let's go with that. Alright, so that's right. And then here, so it goes like this. And it should drop down to... So if you're wondering like how I'm getting these chords, it's just a lot of practice / a lot of just doing this, you know, over time. So I have already, I mean, you know, and also Tim, or my older brother, he's a kind of a music guy, or really, you know, music head kind of guy, Timmy Crown. So he's like really good at, you know, his chords and everything. So he taught me a lot. So just looking at these chords, you know, the basically the melody I'm playing. I guess you can't see it like that. But that is a chord basically. It's kind of a lot, but like that's a chord. So anyway, so I took like 4 of the 5 notes, which is G, G sharp, B2, D sharp 2, B2, D sharp 2, and then F sharp 2. And so that's basically what we got. So should do this twice, and then drop down to 2 basically. Should drop down to F. So instead of here, it should be like maybe there. Let's try that. Let's leave it the way it is for now. Let me, we don't want to mess with the chords too much. We just want to kind of get the bass down for, at least that's how I kind of like to do it. Just get the bass down and then come back later. So the second chord can be repeated again at the end, twice. We might want to switch it up just to make it interesting, but we'll leave it the way it is right there. Yeah. Okay, that's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and basically catch all these. I think I'm going to raise them up a little bit because they're a little low. Let's kind of patch in the softness here. That slight fine-tune helps it kind of to sound like strings because they kind of waver in and out, clashing among the 2 synth types. So we can kind of like take advantage of this. So you'll hear it. Like you hear how the square sounds like really just kind of bare. Let's try adding a little bit. Let's try just pushing another frequency using the frequency 2 slider. Just adding another one slightly near it. So yeah, you hear that? That's that buzzing, that kind of, that bouncing around. We probably don't want that for both of these. Let's go with just a lower frequency for this one, kind of just doubled but lower. Let's also, I'm just kind of making this up as I go. Like I usually do this kind of stuff for like some good strings, but this is not going to sound like, I don't think, quite like strings I've done before. But anyway, let's go ahead and try adjusting the duty cycle a little bit. Okay, I kind of like that. That sounds pretty good. Okay, good. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and, I'll leave it there. Let's go ahead and just add 4 more tracks. Let's copy it. Now I'm basically going to double these down to kind of spread them out because currently it's like I'm playing like 1 octave. What I like to do is copy and paste this several times. We'll paste it again here, and we'll paste it again here. So you might not have caught that, but basically I copied the original 4 tracks here. So like bottom, mid, lower mid, higher mid, high. Then I went over to here and I pasted it here. Then I went to basically halfway point at the number 3, channel 3, and pasted it again. So I have the lower mid, low, low mid, low, low mid, high mid, high, high mid, high. So what we're going to do is transpose these 2 high mids, the 2 higher ones, basically 2 octaves up. Yeah. Then we're going to transpose this, basically the original one, the original set 1 octave, the original chord 1 octave. So basically I'm taking the original chord I have, transposing it 1 octave up, taking the upper 2 notes and copying them over and transposing them another octave up, and taking the lower 2 notes and copying them over and transposing them another 2 down, which is the original chord that we had. So you'll hear it probably will be loud, but it's really kind of wide compared to the original. Okay, I don't like that. Why? Because it's too much high, and there's not enough low. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy, basically drag this entire thing. Like, actually, I guess I can just do this. I'm gonna Control A to copy everything, transpose it an octave down, then grab just this one and transpose it up. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, now one other thing, or last thing I'd like to do, is add a delay. What that does is like it really separates the strings or the chords apart from the rest of the song, because you basically are hearing them in almost like panned at the same time, both left and right. It makes it sound wider, like around the song. And it really works well to me for strings. So you can hear it, basically the difference. Alright. So I had like a cut like every so often. Like I've had chords and I would cut and then the same chords again and cut. I don't like that. So I would basically am just playing the chords straight, just block chords. Okay, so I think this is pretty good. Okay, now one thing I noticed is really loud and it's not high enough. I did want some high, but it's too loud, I think. So let's try this. What I'm going to do is add a sample. I'm going to add just some strings, I think. Let's add some strings. Let's add some orchestral strings. This isn't the way you would really add strings. You really should add like the bass or the, I I guess, yeah, that's what's called a bass, and then you have, not like the guitar bass, but like the cello. I guess it would be cello, violin, viola, you know, you would add like the 4-piece strings or however it is, however you want to call it. You would add like the individual strings for the orchestra and like play them out like real strings would play if you really wanted it to be accurate. So I'm not really going to do that. I just want to kind of lay down a quick kind of string thing, and even this is going to be pretty much under the synth strings that we have. It's just going to be slightly higher. Right. So yeah, I want to make sure that our polyphony is high enough to support all of the individual strings, individual notes playing. Let's go ahead and copy over to this again. Let's see. So I'm looking for basically some high end. So 5, I think, is the one that I'm looking for. That's my end. Let's try boosting the relative note up a little bit. Let's see. I think I like 5. Let me see. I was going to amplify the strings. I'm just going to lower these volumes to more manageable levels, and then boost up the entire thing with the amplifier there. So, yeah, we're just going to take the lowest, basically, volume thing, which is the... Let's just mute everything, and then take this down to a nice, manageable level. Something else you can do is push a little bit of random here, because that'll make it so that the notes I play you hear it's kind of like jumping around. That's kind of like a random strings. You know, strings aren't exactly perfect each time, so that kind of helps out a little bit to make this chords sound a little more interesting. But not too much, you know, otherwise you get that, which is bad. You don't want it to be too detuned. There we go. Alright, this is turning out okay. It's turning out okay. Kind of like a really interesting dubstep space beat. Kind of weird. Okay, so it's... That reminded me. This could use some EQ. Let's go ahead and try that. Let's EQ this little. So I just adjusted the delay here to kind of change the panning, how it sounds when panned. I'm just experimenting with a lot of this stuff. Like, you can tell I'm not really like, I don't have a science to this. I'm just kind of experimenting around, seeing what I can come up with and what the results are. I like to use lines just because I can like sync it up a little better. I'm sure you heard this, but with that delay getting shorter, it kind of sounds almost underwater-ish, because it's almost like a filtered down version of the thing. I'm sorry, hold on. Let's see. Okay, so I think this is a pretty good place to cut it. That's something about modular design, is that you should probably go like that, so I don't echo the reverb, which is, it lacks the punch. It's just kind of like, it's kind of rounded off in a sense, like it's very smooth. Whereas with if I echo it and then reverb it, then I get the punch. So. I think I want this to, the strings to follow, because it sounds really weird. Kind of weird that the strings don't follow. Let me just go ahead and copy this. Paste it. Where is it? Here. There we go. I mean, that means this can be copied. And go, oh wait. Because it would be another. No, it would be this one. This should be here. There we go. Paste, and this one too. Let's see how that sounds. I think that's where we're going to cut it. Basically cut this video for today. There we go. It shows just like how important it is to get the compression down, because otherwise you get something that's not quite what you wanted. It's just, you know, not quite what you expect. All right, well, that's what I'm gonna close off with. So thank you very much for watching. I've been SolarLoon, and hopefully I've done a good job just showing my general process and the stuff I make with SunVox when I take my time or rush or whatever. Thanks.